go on to have multiple, fairly distinct ministries throughout their careers with responsibilities they never anticipated, and if they dare to talk about their faith with people who don't share it, they will run into these topics again and again. I therefore make no apologies, for example, for spending an entire chapter on the transmission and translation of the text of the New Testament. But I begin with a chapter that deals with the problem of suffering and evil, which I hope needs no justification for anyone. Numerous people deserve my thanks and appreciation for their help in this project. Brian Dyer and Jim Kinney from Baker Academic and Brazos Press have showed enthusiasm for the project from the first day I suggested it to them. James Corsmo and the team at Brazos Press shepherded the manuscript well. Denver Seminary has continued to afford wonderful facilities, library resources, and supportive conditions for my writing. My wife, Fran, who early in my career read and critiqued everything I wrote, was not able to keep up with all of it as our girls were growing up, and then as she worked on the pastoral staff of 2 local churches we attended in turn. Now that she is retired, she is reading my books again, and for that I am again grateful. Our 2 grown daughters put up with occasionally being found out to be related to me, but more importantly, give perceptive feedback whenever I bounce ideas and questions off them. I continue to be grateful for the support of the administration and board of Denver Seminary and for their generous sabbatical policy, although this book was largely completed in between 2 sabbaticals that gave and are giving me the opportunity for researching and writing longer works. The distinguished professorship, which I have held since 2006, has provided an annual stipend for research assistants and assistants, without which I could not possibly have kept on publishing the quantity of scholarship that I have. The research assistant who has had the greatest amount of input in this volume is Alicia Dupree, who is now also my adjunct faculty colleague and a part-time PhD student in New Testament studies as well. I am profoundly grateful for her help in this project and wish to dedicate this volume to her. Introduction. Blogs, tweets, podcasts, YouTube videos, these and other high-tech forms of communication allow people to express their commitments and convictions to a huge audience as quickly as ever in the history of the world. Because of self-publishing, books take a back seat in some people's minds to peer-reviewed articles, when it used to be the other way around. In any event, this means we must exercise even more critical care in separating fact from fiction, event from interpretation, and scholarship from rant. Nowhere is this discernment more crucial than in assessing the reasons why people choose not to believe in God. In the middle of 2015, I scoured the internet for reasons people gave for being atheists. I tallied responses on websites that purported to give the primary reasons unbelievers in general rejected a God like that of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, who is both transcendent and immanent, who discloses himself to human beings, and who longs for them to follow and pledge allegiance to him. I grouped a few of the reasons together when it seemed they were clearly related in some key respect. The table of contents of this book was the result, as it itemizes 10 key questions, or clusters of 2 or 3 related questions, that appeared most commonly as reasons people gave for rejecting the God of the Bible. Of course, trying to respond to skepticism at times resembles trying to nail Jell-O to the wall. It slips and slides all over the place. You answer one question and immediately the conversation shifts to a related one. And then again and again. Or perhaps the better analogy is that of trying to keep the heads in a whack-a-mole game from constantly popping up. At some point in certain kinds of conversations, one realizes that one's conversation partners are not looking for answers to puzzling questions, but simply seeing how many more puzzling questions they can pose each time they encounter an apparent answer to one of them. Thus, not every topic that this book treats appears on every list I consulted in 2015, just as the